Good morning. Do you know what time it is? It's morning. That's right. It's the time of day where I wake up when I don't have to and when I'm grumpy to do a comedy show. Makes no sense. Why do I do this? I suppose because we got people who are here to watch. This all started as some sort of insane bonus content idea, and it's not stopping. Let's say good morning to everyone who's here. I know that who was here first? Tyler yesterday saying that he came here to get healed by the memes. I think that's probably a bit too much to ask. Texas time is here. Texas time, I know pitifully nothing about you. I don't even know your sex. I don't know if you're a dude or a lady. I know where you could say that doesn't matter at all, but it is sort of the basic thing that I learn about you. First thing that I learn about you, and then sort of everything after that kind of forms my impression of you. Shorty Rides is in Australia. She's sick, so she's sleeping, hopefully. Michael Hendricks is here. Texas Time says he's got to run an errand. Hopes to make it back to wallow in my misery so John could cheer me up. Again, that is a bit of an ask. Michael Hendricks, this is a comedy show. If we just have a learning day, is that okay? Probably. Can we have a day where we get emotionally wrecked and function less well is what I'm asking for. I hope everyone leaves here today feeling more sad and more melancholy and more introspective, because that's how I've been feeling now that fall has arrived. The weather's changed and turned, and yeah, so that's what we're going to do from here on out until December 21. Mike Hendrick says, yesterday I learned why we keep guards on our angle grinders. Now I have a chunk of my knuckle tissue missing. Michael, you know how I feel about amputees. I've discussed this multiple times on multiple podcasts that I do not like amputees. If you are missing a piece of your finger, you can go. You are dismissed. Chase, hello. Good morning. And Tyler. And hello to everyone else out there. My sister is here. Once again, making me feel self-conscious about at least one or two memes I have chosen. 13 RPM, 13,000 RPM is no joke. I can't stand when people run without a guard on them. It's 12:35 where John lives. Where do I live? Isn't it like Nova Scotia time right now? Anyway, Abby's here. Also strange. Normally she misses out. So I have this jig to sharpen mower blades that requires you to pull off the guard. I need to grind something else quickly, and I grabbed it without thinking and missing the guard. I need to sharpen my lawnmower blades, but I understand that isn't there just a handheld stone that you can rub on it? I don't want to do that gesture again. But I need to sharpen my lawnmower, and I don't own a grinder, and I don't want to grind anything, and I don't like the sparks. I feel like that's scary. Can I just rub a stone on it? There's a stone, isn't there? Tally was here. I'm just listening to Wendy's testimony, and she is not so cocky this time around. Was she cocky last time? By the way, I have put picture in picture here for you, so that you get that that double comm center experience. You're welcome for that. This is perhaps not helpful at all since you have no idea what she's saying. But there you go. You don't feel like you're missing out. I also have been sleeping the last many hours that she's been on the stand, so I have no idea what she's been up to. But this is probably something that Drew's going to talk about tonight. Hopefully. I know that a lot of people in our comments on the video that I dropped on Friday were very upset that I implied that Wendy's not going to get arrested at any point, telling me how dumb I am, that Wendy can still be prosecuted and all this. Well, they did make her a deal in exchange for her testimony, so I guess that deal doesn't mean anything to those people. And I guess they just feel like the prosecutor's office is not playing for keeps. We all want Wendy to get arrested. We all want her to go to jail if she's guilty of having anything to do with her husband's death. But that's not the way that the game is played. When you give someone a limited immunity deal in exchange for their testimony, I mean, we could get her on something else if she, comes out and gets on Dateline and says something that's not covered by that original deal or something, then, there you go. But she's smart enough to not do that. I have phantom knuckle skin pain now. Yes, that's what I hate about it. I was literally reading a book last night on my way home, listening to a book. It's a book by one of the surgeons who was at one of the MASH hospitals in Korea, like in real life. And he was talking about how a lot of the surgeons pioneered vascular surgery while on the front lines of Korea, arterial grafts, this in order to prevent having to amputate limbs. When there's arterial damage, the standard operating procedure for the Army was to clamp the artery that was damaged so that there was no more hemorrhaging, and then to wait and see if the other vascular system in the limb would take over and deliver enough blood to save the limb, and if not, to just chop that off. And what they would do is they would graft arteries from other parts of the body into damaged arteries from wherever the patient sustained injuries. And I'm driving, and I'm listening to this like detailed like account of surgery, and I like start feeling queasy. I'm like, this is just a book. I'm just listening to a guy read a story about how 80 years ago they were, moving arteries around in the body, and it's not good. I can also remember as a kid going to, oh man, was it Yorktown or Williamsburg? It was gosh, it must have been Williamsburg, but from Virginia, and we had the historic triangle there, and might have been Yorktown, the place where we recognized where the Revolutionary War was won. But they have a reenactment camp there where everyone's wearing their petticoats and their tri-corner hats and their muskets and everything. And they have the surgeon's tent there, sort of the primordial MASH. And they would talk about how if you got shot, they didn't do anything other than give you a piece of wood or a bullet to bite down on. And then they would saw that off with various grits of sawbones. And I can remember as a kid, feel like they would describe this medical procedure to us while we're 9. And I can remember being very sick that day, very queasy that day, probably throwing up, knowing me. If I'm on a field trip and I'm in front of other people and a bus is involved, I'm probably throwing up that day. Well, I went back probably in 2008. I was there as an adult. And I remember going into the tent, and I was there again, and I saw all the sawbones, and they're telling some little kid again, how they're going to cut the arms off of Revolutionary War soldiers. And he kind of does this thing where he glazes over and he has that 1,000-yard stare. And all of a sudden the kid collapses, and like they catch him because you're like, yeah, we're used to this. I'm like, yeah, you've been doing this to children since I was 9. What is wrong with you? Why do you get off on like making little kids faint at the idea of having their limbs surgically removed? Anyway, they were good at it. So now I want to fix the blade on my lawnmower, but even thinking about it makes me want to faint. I don't feel reactive or fighty today, so you're good. Yeah, there's no reason to fight me on anything. There's a stone you can use if you have approximately 3 years of free time to sharpen them. Well, I don't have a grinder either. I believe it is called a whetstone. Very old school. For some reason, that H in there makes it seem ridiculous. Just buy a new mower. Couldn't I buy a replacement blade? Isn't that a compromise between Tyler's buying a new mower and Michael's buying a grinder? Couldn't I get a new blade to put on it? I mean, wouldn't that just involve like taking a nut off and then taking the blade off and then putting on a new one? I'm a female and a pretty infamous troll, but I'm retired. You're retired from what? Being a troll? I have to drive, but I'm leaving you on at home for my pets. That's hilarious. I like that. Cupcakes, hello, good morning. Why don't we stop talking about my life and fainting as a child and barfing as a child and just get into the memes that we all love so well? Just as a reminder, There is comm center swag. I have not been paid for any of it yet, but hypothetically I could be. So make sure you're checking out this store. If you need links to that, you can always DM me on my Instagram at I Stand Correct. What was really weird is that I created a new graphic last week, and I have uploaded it to Teespring 9 times on various accounts, and they keep taking it down. And it's not offensive or anything. I have no idea what's wrong. They're just like, you can't design anymore or something. So we're all here because the number of memes that you share is directly proportional to your depression. I've been doing this show for over a year, dropping over 30 memes every time. And this is only because I'm too depressed to do this 5 days a week. This is from Amy Ash. Making fun of your crop rotation idea and thereby holding back our people another 5,000 years. Jeff thinks the beans have to take turns, laughing my ass off. You think some of that went on? Just making fun of simple ideas like rotating crops. I actually, it's funny. I learned about crop rotation also in like 5th grade. I learned that if you plant tobacco, it like destroys the soil and you have to give it 2 years off before you can grow like corn or soybeans or anything else there. When I was a kid in school, they would also teach us the metric system, and they would assure us that the metric system was going to come into practical everyday use by our entire society within a few years. I remember I specifically had teachers that said, by the time you're an adult, this is what we're going to use. So somebody told the teachers of the 90s to just go ahead and put kids on the metric system now. It never happened, but I understand the metric system fairly well. But obviously, they were also teaching me how to be a farmer of tobacco for some reason. I know that tobacco is a huge crop in Virginia. I also think my teachers were just generally against tobacco, which I don't think is fair. I think those are good salt of the earth people. So yes, I'm depressed, but one cold Dr. Pepper has done more for me than a decade worth of antidepressants. Easy to say, since I have had no antidepressants. I'm just raw dogging this life. A friend of mine, I would often talk to her about how depressed I am, which for me is like a comfortable feeling melancholy and feeling unable to cope with life is normal. But she's just like, have you ever thought about taking something for it? I'm just like, no, why would I take something for it? She's like, what about therapy? I'm like, why would I talk to someone about it? I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying being sad and depressed. This is just something that's been driving me nuts lately. I hear people say it. It's been driving me nuts. You run the gamut and run the gauntlet. You don't run the gambit. A gamut is an entire range or series. A gauntlet is a severe trial. Gambit is an alpha level mutant who can convert potential energy into kinetic energy. So you do not run the gambit. Someone out there is saying, well, it's sort of a mute point, isn't it? And then I would kill that person. I found out recently, I was listening to some, because I just put out a Brian Koberger episode on my other podcast, my third podcast, for those of you who didn't know, Hard Time. I was watching some of the victims' impact statements on that. And apparently Brian Koberger was the kind of person who would correct people's grammar and mechanics. And he was a bit of a loser and couldn't get a woman to look at him. All right. You arrive at a gate with 2 guards. Guard 1. Halt, traveler. You must solve our riddle to continue. Guard 2. Here we go. Guard 1. Only one of us tells the truth. The other tells only lies. Guard 2. Jesus Christ, Daniel. I said I was sorry. It's like that old axiom. I can only, I am telling the truth, and then the other person goes, he's full of lies or something. I'm like, I don't know. It's too early in the morning, but you know that riddle where like it's a paradox, but this time it's just Daniel hasn't been upfront about things going on. Don't be afraid to go outside raw. No wallet, no phone, no friends, paying for everything and yelling at you to stay nearby. I messed up that meme. But would your friends pay for you and yell at you to not wander away? Of course not. They would just tell me I'm fuck out of luck. It takes strength to be gentle and kind, you stupid fucking idiot. I've had to remind myself a lot of this lately. Someone at work driving me nuts, and I have to constantly remind myself to be the bigger person. They've been turning off the computer when I'm there to take over for them. So I have to get underneath and turn the computer on, which means they're forcing me to crawl around on the floor in their filth because this person also leaves a lot of filth on the floor. And I can also sweep it up, but then I'm also doing more chores. And so this person was supposed to relieve me at 6 a.m. on Saturday morning, but they didn't show up till 8. So I just worked 2 more hours that I didn't necessarily have to work. They just didn't care what the schedule said, just didn't show up till whenever. And I'm not going to call my boss at 6 a.m. on a Saturday morning to complain because that's not being a good employee. So it gets there and I'm just like, I could turn off the computer, but I have to remind myself that I'm the bigger person. Not physically bigger, because he certainly is bigger than me physically, but gosh, it's hard to be the bigger person sometimes, isn't it? It takes a lot of strength to be gentle and kind. You stupid fucking idiot. Fuck, I'm so excited to be cold and sad in a couple months. Being hot and sad is not it. It's already cool here. And thank God, because my air conditioning broke down yet again. For those of you keeping track, this is like the 4th time this summer. Now summer's finally over, and I don't have to do anything about it until like Halloween, when finally it will be so cold that I will have to have the heat blowing. So at least I can have a couple months where I just don't do anything about it. Some of you guys playing fantasy football? I used to play, and then I was asked to never come back in the form of not being asked to rejoin. The last time I played, the league was called Everybody Beat Bates, which is me, if you didn't know. And I didn't even try that hard, but I guess I was pretty good at it. And it was never a league where we spent any money or anything, but I guess people just didn't like seeing me win. I hate fantasy football though, because first of all, it's not my fantasy team, because by the time I get to even pick, one of my players is already gone, let alone by the 5th round. And then on Sunday, I would find myself rooting against myself. Like, I can remember watching a game where I'm like hoping that Des Bryant doesn't have an amazing day. And I'm just like, what are you talking about? Deciding fantasy draft order by bringing in a medium to rank our great grandfather's actions in the Civil War from most to least dishonorable or honorable. Boy, I'm having trouble reading today. This is how I think it should be decided. This is the problem that I don't think that she or he considered, is that some of us had great grandfathers who fought on both sides. So, and remember, there were honorable people fighting on both sides. I think I already did that one. And that one. I'm just going back and forth. Experts recommend leaving your apartment, walking into the forest, and never coming back. Boy, that would be great for your health, wouldn't it? In my exploration of memes, there's also apparently a movement in Japan where people, because of the high pressure life over there, which I think is probably very high pressure, they often leave their lives behind, walk into the woods, or abandon their identities, and that's the end of them. And there's actually people that help them do that. I would love to have a company help me move out from my life. Like sometimes, like when you're watching videos or even TV, I'm sure, but they have online security firms that stop data brokers from trafficking in your information. I want that plus a move out service. Like, help me move out, help me disappear, cancel my driver's license, cancel my library card, and have a man come down and help me dye my hair blonde in a gas station bathroom. I can't have a child because it will take away from my time that I could be on my phone. Kids are too much of a distraction. This from Maggie Winters. My inner child just got left inside a hot car. I've been feeling that way for months. But actually, this past week, where I haven't been editing video every last second, I've been feeling a little bit better. I actually had some downtime this past week where I had nothing to do, and that felt strange. I think I have a meme for that here. Partition of Switzerland proposed by Gaddafi during a 2009 visit to Italy. Why did Gaddafi hate Switzerland? Or is he trying to appeal to Italy, France, and Germany that hate Switzerland? Why is there a proposal to divide up Switzerland? I don't know. I just want to be curious about it and then not look into it at all. Pizza shop workers took down an armed robber, but when police took off his mask, they discovered it was their old boss. Ruh-roh! What kind of Scooby-Doo shit is this? He's someone who would know the routine, how much money is in there. They probably knew it was him, right? If you knew who the identity was of the armed robber and you knew it was your boss, wouldn't that make you feel a little bit more bold? By the way, Harvey Adelson on the screen, looking like an absolute Muppet right now. What's he looking around at? Probably something interesting. There's Wendy. Hi, Daddy. A bunch of murderers. Richard Nixon's resignation lunch: pineapple slices, cottage cheese, and a glass of milk. Boy, that's just the breakfast of failure right there. And why are our presidents being served breakfast on silver platters? You guys think that that's a little bit ridiculous? I don't know. I guess we have to impress like other nations and stuff. So like when they come over, we have to pull out the fine china. But I feel like the president should be eating like on a regular cafeteria tray. They have all these videos for like how nice the White House is and how all the staff there, like particularly on Inauguration Day, how they like completely switch out all the furniture and carpet and everything so that when the new president, who starts at noon, comes home, later that evening, everything's swapped out. Do you feel like our chief executive is getting treated too nicely? On the other hand, like he does kind of have the hardest job in the world. I don't know. I'm just so anti-federal employee. All right. So Drew's here, which doesn't help. I like how I said it, just mean. What do you have? Why do you have a Papa's chair donut swag meme? Thank you for indicating which meme that was. That picture is not from me. That is from Tanner. By the way, I just want everyone to look at this because she indicated what meme she was talking about. And now I know what she meant. So if you guys could all just do that exact same thing. How many millimeters is that tobacco leaf? How many millimeters is it thick? 0.01. Trying to watch the trial and the TV program and this at the same time. Well, I'm trying to make it easy for you to switch back and forth. Watching Georgia Cappleman examining Wendy Adelson is how I imagine women feel when they see young firefighters showing up to save a kitten in a tree. I think he's saying he's a big fan of Georgia Cappleman. If that takes strength, I'm very weak. Then I guess cupcakes and cameos is not that nice of a person. I'm tired of being the bigger person. Just once, I want to be so freaking small. My sister has to put up with people a lot. Probably not the least of which is me. If your old boss, just get a second key made. We would do that when we would not be able to retrieve keys from people we fired. We would do that. You really have to change the locks, which is very expensive. Wendy is innocent, as is Donna. I think this is just him trying to rattle my cage. Just starting off with a huge waste of money to set the whole tone for the next 4 years. Nixon's tray set here. Is that what you mean? Just curious what exactly you meant by that. As innocent as she didn't stink this morning as it came out of my... Okay, I wish you would put things in a different way. John, regarding the Nixon meme, I have no comment. Thank you. Thank you for making sure I knew which meme you had. This is the first time I've done something right. I don't know. You've probably done something right without me noticing before. I never had to climb a rope in gym class. That was not really a thing for me. I can see they're on break now. I'll go ahead and take that down while they're on break. So this meme makes me really mad because I've said this multiple times, but I never profited from it in terms of social media clout. But so strip clubs are weird. Why would you want to go to a room full of men and then become aroused by a woman there? Assuming that is the point. I don't know what the point is otherwise. Is it to drink really expensive beer? And to be in a room that has all the aesthetics of the lobby of a Holiday Inn in Peoria, Illinois? Or to listen to really loud music that you don't like? This is an Overheard Courthouse. This is one of my favorite accounts. Defendant stands before a judge wearing a shirt that reads, "Bitches be trippin'," or maybe I pushed one. Probably not a smart thing to wear to court. Fact Files, also a new account for me that I'm following. This is a chest x-ray of a 21-year-old dental assistant after he attempted suicide by intravenously injecting elemental mercury. By the way, they say attempting suicide, but I don't think there's a cure for having mercury inside your body, especially in your lungs here. It's in the brachia of his lungs. I think this guy's done for. I think they have to bury him in a lead-lined casket. Mercury is very bad for the environment. I'm pretty sure he was successful. NFL has released the 15 social justice messages players are allowed to choose between to wear on the back of their helmets this season. Released the Epstein files. That was not one of them. Of course, there were several anti-Cowboys ones. This is always the time of year when the NFL season starts and people send me memes that make fun of the Cowboys. You have to understand that most people in America, 50, 60% or more, are Cowboys fans. And so if you're looking to get your meme trafficked as much as possible, you're going to have that small percentage of Americans, those jealous, envious Americans who's, Vikings fans and the like, Raiders fans and the like, who's have no prospects for the future. Yeah, grant that things are pretty sour looking for the Cowboys, but the Vikings will never, ever win a Super Bowl. Ever. They don't even have a past to look backward upon fondly, nostalgically, like I do. But this is the time of year when those memes come out, and in order to get those memes to be trafficked to as many people as possible, companies like the Babylon Bee and so on will create anti-Dallas Cowboy memes. This is all just for clout. It's all just to tickle the algorithm, and no one should be taking these memes seriously, and no one should be sending them to me. I like places that are open to the public. You text like a dog. I think it's cool. Places to be open to the public. This Lex Luthor is an S-tier hater. I haven't seen the new Superman movie. Was it any good? Put in the chats if you thought the new Superman movie was good. I don't know why I didn't see it. I think it's because I saw Fantastic Four and I didn't have time to go see any other movies. But nothing will top going to church and literally asking God to kill someone while tears well up in your eyes. That was from Spider-Man 3. It was also from the comics. And Eddie Brock, a top-tier hater. Unfortunately, they didn't really do his character right in that movie, but that was a moment from the comics that they absolutely nailed. Just had a waiter sit down at our table while taking our order. Incredible power move. I've never seen this before. I've only seen it like once in my life where a waiter just comes and sits down. Sometimes they do the power crouch, Like if they're a catcher on a softball team and they come and crouch so that they can look at you in your eye level, I think that's a good move. I don't know how it is to sit down with you because it's kind of insinuating, kind of a buddyship with you, like they're your friend. I think it really just depends on my mood, and thus I cannot give advice to anyone. If I'm in a bad mood, don't do this. If I'm in a good mood, good idea. Curious what you guys would think about that, having a waiter, server, waitress, hostess, host, whatever you would call them, come and sit down at your table while they're taking your order. I also like it when they don't use their pen and paper, when they just remember your order. And then you're skeptical of them the entire time. You're like, you're not going to remember this at all. That I told you I wanted charro beans. Just forget it. I'm going to get refritos and I'm just going to have to deal with it. But then they go around the whole table just to make a point. They read your order back to you. And like you wanted the chicken flautas with extra jam, and you wanted the fajita burrito. You wanted this, and they just do all that. Good for them. That's the kind of person I want to tip. I think this is chicken. Ketchup and hot sauce don't exist. What's another option? I don't know that I would put hot sauce on it. I mean, I would put barbecue sauce on it. So what would you guys put on this? I'll return to your chats. John, regarding the strip club beam, it's for the food. That's why I always went. Yeah, for the great food. You're not even eating this well. I never understood guys that watch porn together. I didn't know that guys did that. Jesus. The world just got a little darker for me. It's to help support single mothers. Well, that's why people go, because they just want to help out the moms. That was pretty good. People thought I was a black man for years. What do they think now, Texas time? people thought I was a black man for years. Well, what are you now? Now I'm really curious. I like Fact Files. It's an interesting page. I guess Cupcakes already follows it. If only it was a Ford Mercury, she would have been safe. Well, not if she was injecting a Ford Mercury into her veins. By the way, is it a Ford Mercury? I think Mercury is the other Ford. I think Mercury is a more highly badged Ford. We love the Cowboys here. Good. Just gonna ignore that next one. I want to be buried with the number 22. I don't even know what that means. With the actual number? Or you're saying you want to be buried with Emmitt Smith? Or what are you saying? John, the Cowboys are looking better than the Browns. I've not paid attention to either. I just know this to be true. I don't know that to be true. They've got Joe Flacco. He played very well for them. He got them back to the playoffs a couple years ago. Haven't seen it and won't see a Superman movie. Don't know why Tyler hates Superman for some reason. Tyler, I used to fight the white racists a lot. I don't recall growing up with a lot of white racists, and I grew up in the South, and maybe I just wasn't around them. I'm white and can be very racist. This is a Canadian, by the way. I used to work in a restaurant where one of the waiters would always do that, especially if it was a table full of women. But he was a very attractive guy, so he got away with it. Is this your way of saying that I should not do that? I literally had someone comment on the comm center, what the video I put out on Friday. I won't say exactly what they said, but they said that I was very well spoken, but ugly. So that hurts. Regarding the waiter sitting meme, guys, you got it. You're nailing it. I love it. We had a local wing place where the waitress did it, and it made me feel like we were bros or siblings, I guess. Don't want to assume her gender, their gender. Yeah, I guess that was a good feeling, I guess. Attractive privilege. I just get pepper sprayed when I sit down with a table full of women. My wife is like, I said no. Your wife. Barbecue. Yes, duh, right? Ranch or Asian zing? Are you at Buffalo Wild Wings in this picture? Because I've never seen fried wings at B-Dubs that looks like that. Barbecue sauce regarding the ketchup and hot sauce meme. Thank you. You guys are nailing it. Texas time I'm playing well. And you guys, please don't fight. I don't have the energy today. I'm also hopping into a hot car. I have no pets for this to play for this. Emmett Smith. He wants to be buried with Emmett Smith. Beach Ford, Barton Ford, Lincoln Mercury. World class. She's sorry, this is like the second week in a row I've singing, but she's singing the jingle from a local dealership, which would be Beach Ford and Barton Ford, Lincoln Mercury. It never even occurred to me that there was combined dealerships having commercials together. That's exactly what it was. If I leave my phone at home and a video tricks my dog into thinking I'm not leaving the house so it doesn't scream. I tried to do that once for my dog. My dog, very, very, very anxious. She will destroy things. She loves destroying rolls of paper towels, toilet paper. Got to the point where I would put her in a kennel. She would break out of that. I'm pretty sure I've played that video on this channel before. She's so smart. She can get out of anything. But when she was brand new, I used to try to manage her anxiety feelings by playing a movie. Didn't help her at all. On the other hand, the movie that I played for her was The Fugitive, which probably only increased her feelings of anxiety. It's a very anxious movie. He's on the run the whole time. She's probably watching this like, oh my gosh, is he gonna get caught? The scene where he jumps, out of the pipe. Probably didn't help her at all. Probably made her anxiety worse. She probably didn't got to the point where she could watch the movie anymore. And she doesn't know how it ended. That could be why she's still so anxious. She's never seen the end of The Fugitive. Turned out okay. Some things are better left alone. Like me, for instance, I do not get anxious when alone. I'm the opposite of Dana. This one came very close to just being the cover of today. A hot dog in a bottle. How to get in there? This is very much the sort of thing that I would do. I was quite flexible when I was younger. The kids at school used to call me Spider-Man because my uncle was murdered. This one goes out to Brittany Faulkner, who did not bother to show up today. Getting off of work, knowing the location of every deputy in the county. Well, it looks like I'm about to break the law. It's true. I don't always know the location of every deputy in the county because the county in which I live is too poor to have AVL. So I don't know where they're located. But if I happen to know that they're responding to a major incident far away from the drive to my house, I can calculate that even if they drive at maximum speed towards a road in which they would intersect me, they would not catch up to me. And then, especially if I accelerate a little bit, I know that they won't catch me, and that's a good feeling. I love getting home 7 minutes earlier. Really, speed my ass off the whole way, and all I save is 7 minutes. Speeding is such a ripoff. This is me about every day. 10 a.m. Anything is possible. But 4 hours later, but not today. I've already wasted my window. Tomorrow, I will do it. Tomorrow, I love to do things. I'm going to try to go to the gym after this. By the way, also, good time to mention, I'm fasting again. I've decided to rededicate my life to the insane art of not eating. It was probably 2018 or so, 17, 18, where I lost like 70 pounds through intermittent fasting and keto. And for some reason, I think on Saturday, I had a huge meal, flautas. And I just decided I'm done with this. I've been eating poorly because of the condition of the house. I don't have access to the kitchen. And instead of eating poorly, what I'm going to do is I'm just not going to eat. And I'm going to eat sometimes. So don't feel like I'm just giving up on life or anything. But I used to be really good at that, and it gave me something to focus on, something that I was working on all the time. So I felt accomplished all the time because I was fasting all the time. And at about 100 hours of fasting, like your brain gets unlocked to a higher level. It's like the limitless pill at that point, where you get incredible clarity of thought and all of your emotions get tamped way down. Like you don't feel strong emotions anymore. And so if you're struggling with regret, loneliness, sadness, feelings of meaninglessness, just starve your way out of having to feel those things. That's my plan. So right now I'm at hour uh, 38, I think, as of 11 a.m. local time. So I'm doing pretty good. I'm not hungry, so I am going to go to the gym, have a light workout just to get rid of some of that last remaining glycogen, and then I will break the fast with some avocado or something. But I'm going to do it, and I'm going to lose weight, and I'm going to drop some weight before my birthday, and then I'm just going to continue it until probably Thanksgiving. And then I'll have a big meal that day, and then hopefully from there as well. That's the plan, though. You guys have to hold me accountable to that, which I always hate. I always hate other people like, hold me accountable to my diet. I always want to be like, well, if you have no internal locus of control, just forget it because it doesn't matter, because you're going to do whatever you want, and just decided to lie to me about it. So I may have dealt with that exact thing before. I do think that if you have a pure heart, you can see a spoiler and your brain will reject that memory when you consume the actual creative work. I do not have a pure heart. I can't even watch a movie I can't even watch a trailer for a movie anymore because I think trailers, they're trying so hard to get people to go to the movies that they completely spoil the movie with trailers now. And it's not that new of a phenomenon. They've been doing that for many years. Like if you watch the trailer for Star Trek 3, which came out the year before, there's a major spoiler in that trailer. It's just case in point, trailer that came out before I was born. Smoking off-brand cigarettes hand-rolled by children in cities you wouldn't go to with a gun. A Chinese donut boy commented on this to say, "Do you get it?" And I never did. I'm not sure what he means by that. There's plenty of people here commenting today, by the way. Superman? So woman can't be super? There is Superwoman. There's also a Wonder Woman and a Supergirl. So if I leave my phone at home and a video playing, it tricks my dog. Yep, we talked about that with The Fugitive. I just have no faith in new movies. Yeah, you're probably better off with the Christopher Reeve Superman. For what it's worth, I think you ain't bad looking. Well, I appreciate you saying that. Someone did say I was very bad looking. It's hurtful what they said. But of course, you think that I'm not bad looking because I'm just the male version of you. We have the exact same genes. If you were a dude, you would look like me. Your son looks like me. So that's me making a compliment pointless. Thank you for trying. I didn't kill my wife. I don't care. By the way, there's videos of me and Dewey reenacting that video, that part, but then us swapping parts. We did it in a parking garage with a fake gun that did not have an orange tip on it. I don't know how the cops didn't blow us both away. Possibly because they were busy responding to other weapons violations already in progress in the city. That's the thing, is that in the town that I used to live in, you could get away with a little gunplay because you could bet that there's already something going on somewhere else. And you just enter the queue at that point once you take out a gun. It's a little too Southern? It is. Oh, when she says yaint? Southern accent's good. I would be more charming if I had one. Regarding speeding, good job, Michael. I love it. When I was in college, I learned that auto manufacturers design engines to be most efficient at 55. And I'm like, those are the rookie numbers. You got to pump those numbers up. I think my truck gets best gas mileage at 65. But I think you're right. Today's the day Sarah Boone goes to family court so it can be picked apart and pillaged by the media. Will we be doing that? Family court's not covered by the media, so how are they going to do that? Is today the day she loses the rights to her children, even though she's going to be in prison the rest of her life? I can't believe she had it. They gave her a deal of 14 years and she said no, and now she's locked up forever. I don't think I laughed about that enough. John is on a hunger strike until Drew pays him more. He literally paid me yesterday. You know what's weird about that? And Drew and I need to figure this out, but he pays me on Venmo. So, like, anyone who's my Venmo friend can see how much I get paid to do comm center. So we need to change that. Is it what? There's another pay app that doesn't show all the transactions to all your friends. So we need to switch to that. Michael, I find I get best mileage at 110 kilometers an hour. I think that's a little bit faster. John, have you tried Zoloft? I've never had any prescription drugs to manage my moods in my entire life. Just to answer your question, just so we don't have to go through the whole litany of them. No. I would rather live an authentic life. I think that I have good reason to feel sad. I don't think that it's a chemical imbalance or anything like that. I think that I'm self-aware. I think I know what is happening in my life. I think I know what my regrets are. In some ways, being a prisoner to those regrets is not healthy or a good thing, but I also don't want to be someone that just dismisses the things that have gone wrong in my life. And perhaps I don't have a good emotional regulation when it comes to new stressors. I don't cope with things well. That's entirely possible, but at least I'm me. I'm not just going to take a pill and get rid of the things that make me me. But I'll tell you, Texas Time, as someone who doesn't know me especially well compared to some of these people, there have been times in the past where I've been very depressed and very melancholy, which is different. I should distinguish this. There's such a thing as suffering from depression, and then there's being depressed. These two things are not the same thing. If you're suffering from depression, that means that your day-to-day life is impacted. That means you cannot get out of bed, you cannot go to work, you cannot brush your teeth, you cannot do your laundry, you cannot function. I have a functional level of depression, which means I feel depressed. Okay. Obviously, if my life's being impacted, like if I can't go to work, that's a problem. At that point, I would have to address it through some means. And there was a time in my life where I was that depressed. I can recall a day where I did not get up and go to work because I was too depressed. I just laid in bed. My boss texted and called me and I ignored it. I didn't do anything. Then later I said that I overslept. But I was awake on time and I just laid there. But what I'm getting at is there are times in my life where I'm feeling depressed and I'm feeling melancholy and I am tremendously creative. I cannot write at all when I'm feeling good. When I'm feeling depressed, I write some pretty fabulous stuff, in my opinion. Of course, I like it. I'm the one who's writing it. But I have a blog of things that I've written, and some of the best and funniest works are and sometimes emotional works are written when I'm really, really depressed. And so I would not wish that part of myself away. So I don't need Zoloft or anything. I have to get ready to go. Have a good day, everybody. Bye. Goodbye. That sounded glib, like see you in hell, sister. But that's not how I felt at all. Have a good day, sister. Hope you have a good one. Jonathan, you know my feelings on this very poor diet choice. I knew you would chime in. I know what I'm doing. I need to give you meal prep recipes. How do I meal prep when I have no kitchen? That's why people bounce back. It has to be maintainable. Here's the thing, Jenny, that diet I did where it was 36-hour fasting with keto, I did that for years. It was very, very, very maintainable. For me, that's what a maintainable diet is. I get what you're saying that eventually I would die, but I mean, I think that your body composition is as a result of whatever it is that your diet and exercise are. If you think about it as a function of calorie intake and calorie expenditure, it's a number. It's what goes in versus what goes out. And then your body composition just is whatever than the sum of those numbers are. And if you're overweight, it's because you take in more calories than you spend. Right? Like I don't sound crazy right now, do I? And so if I want to lose weight or if I want to be at a lower weight, then I need to change my diet so that it is different, change my lifestyle. And considering how often I'm sitting at this desk podcasting, how often I'm sitting at my desk at 911 dispatching, how often I'm sitting behind the wheel of a truck driving. If you consider that 60 or 70 hours a week, I'm just sitting down, I probably need to eat less food. I think that's fine. And I'm going to go to the gym, so I'm going to be doing things to like build up my muscle mass. I'm not just going to waste away. Have some protein and things like that. Fasting worked for Jesus. Dude was ripped after 40 days and 40 nights. The metabolism of someone like Jesus was probably very different because they never had access to our diet at all. They didn't have access. I mean, food was even different, before World War II. It was much less nutritious. People kind of rip on food now for being bad for you, having lots of chemicals and microplastics and stuff in it. There was also a time when food just generally wasn't nutrient dense either because agriculture was not at an industrial scale. Well, we're doing things to make food more robust. Not all of it's good, obviously, but a lot of it has been made more nutrient dense. And I'm guessing that someone in Christ's time probably had a metabolism where he could cope with eating far less food. What's funny is that I read a lot about the Korean War. You heard me mention that earlier. North Koreans and Chinese soldiers were fighting a war, and they were fed 1 cup of rice per day. That's what they were fed. Could you do anything day after day after day on 1 cup of rice? It was part of the reason why we had such a hard time fighting the Koreans is because their needs were so low. Our supply lines would get cut. Our soldiers would get hungry. They would become ineffectual. The Koreans could carry all the food they needed with them, and they could fight effectively on 1 cup of rice per day. And it's because for them, their metabolism was different. Their diet, cultural traditions were ingrained in them from birth and probably even generationally and passed down genetically, that they didn't require as many calories to do what they needed to do to fight a war. If you want me to fight a war, I need to eat steak 3 times a day, right? And how hard is that to do if you're on the front lines of Korea? But that just goes to show you that your metabolic rate, like Jenny's kind of scolding me a little bit for what I think that my metabolism should be versus, what I'm spending. And I'm telling you, it's not fixed. If a Korean can fight a war, and granted, a Korean is not as big as me, right? I'm a big, huge guy. I'm 6.5 feet tall. Right now, I'm currently probably 260 pounds, which is overweight. I'm obviously going to have different caloric needs than, some 5'5" Korean guy. But my point is that they're different. My sister's worried about this because she knows that I have seizures. I have heard that fasting is good for seizures. I've also heard that marijuana is too, but I'm not doing that yet. I fast all day. Tyler says probably because he smokes, I bet. Only eat dinner, then dessert. So that's what he does. I fell asleep much more easily last night. I have this terrible habit right now. I come home and I eat because I'm stressed out and because I like to eat. I like to have something, a bowl of cereal or something when I get home. It's fun for me. I came home last night. I said I had the willpower when I was coming down the stairs. I was not going to eat any food. I stayed up for a little bit just to kind of like switch my brain. And then I went and laid in bed and I fell asleep right away. It was very good. Is Sarah Boone the suitcase one or the self-defense shooting one? Sarah Boone's the suitcase killer. Who are you, Michael Hendricks? Do you even know us? Jonathan, you can make Venmo private, or rather, at what say Drew Brees, he has to send them that way. Yeah, I can't remember. Is it PayPal that's private? That's what she said in her statement when she was sentenced. I actually do follow a couple of creators who actually flew down to Florida to get to the family law hearing, so I guess it will be covered. Fair enough. Zelle is another pay app. I do use Zelle, but I don't feel comfortable giving Drew my bank account information. He's a detective. He would take it all out. You can change your settings to make that private. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. I will find a way to make it private. You guys are helpful. Goodbye, sister. Have a good day. So many things I wish I did differently. Yes, we all have many regrets. I didn't have the issue with it, but I get the points. Well, I'm also not here to shit on anyone else who uses Oloft. I'm not here to tell you how to live. I don't pretend that I know everything, or I just got done telling you all these things about how like everyone's metabolism is different. If you need Zoloft to function or you need Zoloft to cope with your life, who am I to sit in judgment of you? There are people out there who will really rag on you for going to the psychotropic drugs or whatever. I don't know what you have to deal with. I don't have to wake up feeling like what it is to feel like you. So I'm not going to dog on people that do. I just think it's unempathetic to do that. Regarding not coping well, my high school health teacher was Mr. Cope. Come see me, Dr. Cope. There, but for the grace of God, go I, says K. Roberts. Almost called him Croberts. Like his name is a Pokemon or something. Good morning. Good to see you here, K. Roberts. I've never seen you here before, so thanks for watching. Hope you are enjoying anything of this. The Canadian alcohol is more expensive. I liked it when Canada was mad at us for something that Donald Trump was saying. They like started having all of their bottles of Canadian rye destroyed, and we're like, you already paid to have that with that rye manufactured, and now you're just not going to make money off of it because you're mad at Donald Trump. Sorry, John, for what it's worth, you make my life better with these entertaining YouTube channels. You have the best, driest sense of humor I've ever encountered. Yes, but how do I look? Right? Because that's what really matters. Meal prep with your barbecue or your crock pot. The grill requires me to do a lot of dishes that I can't get to my dishwasher. Crock pot could be good. I just worry that the dog would get into it because we're all downstairs together. So I can imagine the dog burning itself, knocking over the crock pot. So it's not a bad idea. It's just like I have learned to anticipate that the dog will become involved in almost anything I do. Jonathan, or make food you do eat at a higher quality. I could do that. You need a new love interest. A new love interest? Why do I need a new love interest? I don't know if you know this about me, Kay Roberts, but I cannot fall in love again. So my heart was broken a long time ago. And when it was broken, I mentioned this a couple weeks ago. We talked all about my ex for some reason. When it finally was broken to the point where I realized I could not fall in love again, the only thing I thought was, man, oh man, I wish this had happened to me at a much earlier age because I wasted so much time. So I actually don't think that romantic entanglements are the answer. I'm on kind of a higher plane now, if you can believe that. He has a dog and a cat. John doesn't need more. Just more work. It's worth it. What is the best feeling of anything in the world? Love can cure anything. The thing is, I haven't felt that brand new feeling of love that you're describing. I haven't felt that in a very long time. And I think it's okay to admit that I like that brand new feeling of love. But even then, like it's just sort of like well wishing, isn't it? Some degree of delusion. Don't get me wrong. I like think that relationships could be great for like practical reasons and even emotional reasons. There's some emotional regulation there, some stability there. Certainly, like there's benefits of marriage, and I got married as a monopoly deal, so that I could build hotels. So it was all right. Those drugs are like a plug in the brain. It's just putting a Band-Aid on it. Some people need Band-Aids. Some people are bleeding. I think he's very funny too. You are too. How do I look though? Canadian politicians are kind of brain dead. We have more Canadians here. This chat is in general is happy and cheers me up. This is a good group of people. Somehow I found like the best 12 people on the internet. Put them all together in a cult to follow me. Not based on my looks, thank God. John, I'm ugly as crap, and I'm managing. I caught my wife when she was desperate and tricked her into a relationship and ensured she felt trapped so she couldn't leave me. Is that where the kids came from? You'll do things like that. I had to turn off all comments to see Tanner's message. YouTube sucks. It does. Yeah, you have to turn on all the comments instead of just top comments. But back to the memes, and then let's finish the show. So my dark circles and deteriorating health make me look hot, huh? Is that what we could take away from this? Look at my eyes. I need to have cucumbers on them at all times. Does that even work? I mean, yeah, I carry a sadness that exhausts my will to live like a leech on my heart, but I'm basically fine. I don't need Zoloft. Body so tired. Anxiety. We have so much to do. Depression. Let's just sleep forever. Insomnia. Good luck. Pain kicks in the door. Sup, guys? Guess what? My fasting is going to solve all this. It's going to help my body not feel so inflamed, so overweight. It's going to tamp down my anxiety and my depression. It's going to help me sleep. And I think it will help with my pain too. I think a lot of my pain comes from being inflamed. So we're going to get rid of all of that thanks to fasting. And if we can just get through this month, we only have one more month to go through before we need to get through another month. We could do it, guys. Start your weekend off right by sprinting into the woods with no intention of returning. The only thing that's wrong with this is the sprinting part. I don't think I've ever been good at sprinting. I never even understood what sprinting was when I was a kid. Where they're like, we're going to sprint now in gym class. And I'm just like, what does that mean? And then we would just run. I'm like, just say run. Don't say sprint. It makes me think, gives you some kind of hope that we're not going to run. Hey, Chili's, if I was on death row and I ordered your bottomless chips and salsa as my last meal, I could technically avoid the death penalty, right? Chili says, that is absolutely right, Daryl. Y'all wonder why Chili's is my spot. I haven't been to Chili's in a long time. I think I read this one last week. Sorry, everyone. There is no secret underground base on Mars. This by Hugh Mann. Nice try, aliens. Always read the byline. By the way, that was from December 2020, so that would have been a great time to tell everyone there was a secret underground base on Mars and no one would have cared because that year was so insane. What do you guys think about this? Bologna, egg, and cheese sandwiches. I know I'm fasting and I can't have bread. And I don't know how I feel about square eggs, but to me, this looks good. I've asked this earlier this summer. How should bologna be eaten on a sandwich? Should it be raw or cooked? This person has even got to the effort to kind of like put little expansion slots into the bologna so that when it heats up, it can cook without like turning into a bowl or something. You can see the little sear marks on the bologna. They look good to you? The doctor this morning asked my 16-year-old if he's recently had surgery or been hospitalized. He said, I don't know. I don't think so. Bro, what? You don't know if you've been hospitalized or if you've had surgery? You don't know? I don't know. I don't think so. I need to say that more often. Just answer questions with, I don't think so. I don't know. I did this at work once. I'll just cop to it. I did it to Tam. Tam needed help with her computer, and I didn't want to help her. So I just said, I don't know. I don't know how to help you. Sorry, Tam. I just didn't want to. The thing is that my job, she sits down at the computer that's right behind me, and then she's on the phone really loud. She'll talk to the caller, and it's just really loud. And I find that very annoying. And she doesn't have to sit there. She could sit somewhere else, but she doesn't want to. So when she sits at this one computer and the monitor doesn't turn on, she could go sit at that other computer It's not a problem. I bumped my mic. Make sure you tell me if you can't hear me. Can you hear me? But I just told her, I don't know, Tam. I don't know how to fix it. How to be happy. Number 1, stop having thoughts. That's what my fasting is going to help me do. I will no longer be thinking. This is me last week. You're totally relaxed and have no responsibilities to worry about. I did not unplug her monitor. It just wasn't working. I'm not like that other employee who turns off my computer on me. Remember when I said that I'm the bigger person? I didn't do anything to Tam. I just didn't help her. It's kind of like, and I hate to draw this direct comparison, but it's the most apt comparison that I could come up with. But at the end of Batman Begins, when they're on the elevated train and it's speeding towards Wayne Tower, and Ra's al Ghul is there, he says to Batman, he goes, I know you won't kill me. I know that you don't have the guts to kill me. Batman says, I'm not going to kill you, but I don't have to save you. And he throws the bombs, blows up on the train behind him so there's a draft, and then he opens his cape and he flies out. Great moment. It's exactly the same as me and Tam with the monitor. I don't have to fuck up your monitor, but I don't have to help you fix it. And then I blow it up and open up my cape and fly away. It's exactly what happened. It's exactly had that exact energy when I said, I don't know, Tam. I don't know what's going on. I don't have to fuck up your monitor, but I don't have to save it either. That exact energy. I was totally relaxed and had no responsibilities to worry about. I wasn't totally relaxed, but I did have some moments this week where I had nothing to do. And also this weekend, I went outside to mow. And like I said, it's been getting cooler lately. And this was the first weekend where I didn't almost die mowing and since forever. And the mowing was fast and easy and borderline fun. I was like, what's this? I'm not dying. The weekend before last, so like 8 days ago, I was mowing and I had to keep coming inside and taking breaks because I thought I was going to die. So I can't wait to have weekends back. I can't imagine a Saturday where I don't have to spend hours mowing. What am I going to do? Am I going to watch college football? Bro, you got to try this high protein Caesar salad, cold brew, air fryer, overnight oats recipe I found on Instagram. I think this is what Jenny wants for me. High protein Caesar salad, cold brew, air fryer, overnight oats recipe I found on Instagram. That's the meal prep that I need. Weird how people flee from countries full of people like themselves to come to countries full of people like me and then immediately start scolding me because I am not more like the people they fled from. I feel bad for everyone who's over in Europe right now. Their countries are being overrun by a culture that is not compatible with theirs. And I watched a video last week. There's some people in England, and there's a guy shouting, I like bacon. That's all he's saying is that he likes bacon. And of course, eating bacon is not okay for Muslims. The police fucking arrested him for chanting, I like bacon, because for them, it's like, well, it's an anti-Islamic thing to say, I like bacon. You got arrested for saying that. England's always had its totalitarian streak, which is why we booted them the fuck out of here. But I just can't imagine. Like, when I watched that video, I just thought to myself, if I was there, I would have fought those cops. And that's so not me, because I'm smarter than that, but it definitely dug up this innate rage inside of me. That it's the foot soldiers who are just carrying out the orders of people that are silencing human beings to the point where they're not allowed to say that they like bacon. And in 10 years, those countries are not going to be friendly to the United States. They're not going to be Europe as we know it. They're just letting it go. And I'm glad that we're doing something about it in this country, but I think eventually it will be that way here as well. I think our country will not be conquered through wars, but it will be surrendered through forfeiture, one day at a time. Anyway. In regard to your sexual orientation, do you think of yourself as straight or heterosexual? I do not understand the question. Prefer to discuss this with my doctor or practitioner. Prefer not to answer. More options. Ah, yes, the sexualities. Straight, confused. I don't have to tell you. What are you, a cop? Fuck off and more. Yeah. The 5 stages of realizing you're not straight. Yeah, if you're not punching the first one there, then you're just coming to that realization for the first time. Tons of Cracker Barrel memes this week. As usual, when social media gets inundated with one thing, I try not to go with that because it's like you've already seen all the Cracker Barrel memes. I don't do this show often enough to be on avant-garde when it comes to memes. I only do it once a week. And for any Cracker Barrel meme I could show you, you could probably show me one that was better. But I like this one. Cracker Barrel CEO Julie Masino should face charges for this crime against humanity. Cracker Barrel is not something you modernize. That's the whole damn point of Cracker Barrel. Did you know, and I know this because I'm this guy, there's a channel on YouTube called the Weird Food History Channel. You might not know this, but Cracker Barrel has actually a quite controversial history. There was a while where the former CEO of Cracker Barrel, who has long since been forced out by the board of directors, but he issued a memo saying that Cracker Barrel would not hire anyone who was homosexual. He said those are not the values of Cracker Barrel, which I both admire and disadmire at the same time, because it's like those are his beliefs and he's sticking to them, and he doesn't owe anyone a job at Cracker Barrel. This idea that anyone's entitled to work at Cracker Barrel, I think, is mistaken. That's his business. It literally is his business who he hires and doesn't hire. At the same time, I think it's naive that you're going to put something down on a piece of paper like we don't hire gay people here, and like you're not immediately going to be hit with a lawsuit that's very, very bad for all of your shareholders. When you're the CEO of a corporation, you need to care about your shareholders and you need to care about avoiding lawsuits, particularly in a country that says you cannot discriminate on the basis of sexual orientation. You're going to lose that lawsuit. So when you issue a statement like that, it's like running into a thunderstorm with a big iron bar. I mean, good for you. Those are your beliefs, but man, you're not going to make it. You're not going to win this war. He has his beliefs. Here's the thing too, is that the Bible has it defines what the family should look like. It also defines sin very well. You're not going to change someone by not giving them a job. But I guess at the same time, you don't have to broker a deal with that either. So I don't know. Thank God I don't own Cracker Barrel. Mission Impossible. Doing your laundry, folding it, and putting it away in the same day. I don't think I've done this in years. I don't know that I've ever done it. I did laundry yesterday. It's still outside hanging on the clothesline. I had a day last week where I did laundry and I hung it out to dry and it fucking rained and I came home to wet laundry. I'm like, well, I'll just leave it on the clothesline. It'll dry. Some problems solve themselves. Boyfriend, girlfriend, best friend, they all end. But you know what does not end? Jerry Jones. The guy even had cancer and they gave him a anti-cancer. They gave him the cure to cancer that none of us can have, just so that Jerry Jones would not die. And he's mismanaging the team so badly. I mean, he could draft well, but he's actually managing the team so poorly this year, we don't have a chance. I don't even think we're going to go 7-8. 6 wins, maybe? We have to play the Chiefs on Thanksgiving. That's not something to be thankful for. I'm going to catch up with your chats, and then we're going to do the last meme of the day. Did not unplug Tam's monitor. I've got pretty regular taking my turmeric shots that I'm feeling well, and I think I do not need them, or I get lazy. Then my knees remind me how much I have destroyed them, and I start my turmeric. So she takes various spices. She packs herself in spices. Turmeric ginger shots help with inflammation and digestion. I'm making some today. Well, I don't know how to make those. So, what do I do? Turmeric and ginger? Can't I just have nothing? That will help with my inflammation, right? Okay. I did not unplug your monitor. Again, I'm the big person. Jonathan, I get most of my recipes from TikTok. Yeah, I'm not on that. Sorry. Remember when the British Prime Minister snarkily corrected Vance, claiming that England has freedom of speech? I played this meme last week or the week before where it says, I can guarantee you freedom of speech, but I cannot guarantee you freedom after speech. Yeah, they have no self-awareness at all because they feel like it's their job to stop misinformation. It's their job to stop hatred. Unfortunately, these are forms of speech. So if you stop misinformation and hatred, you're stopping forms of speech, and they don't realize it at all. And especially Germany has just no awareness. The irony is complete. Watch the words about the British. What are they going to do? Fuck Great Britain and fuck their stupid policies that are oppressing their own people. I don't care about Britain. I'm glad you found something to help. Cracker Barrel used to have a note in the front door that said they aren't racist anymore. Yeah, because they lost a lawsuit too about not hiring black people. My whole thing is this: whatever, if you're a black person and you try to get a job at Cracker Barrel and they said we're not going to hire you because you're black, why do you want to work there? Why are you going to come back after this lawsuit and then work there and then force your presence on at least somebody that didn't want you there? It's probably no one in the restaurant. It's probably someone at a higher level, the corporate level, who doesn't have to see you anyway. But why do you want to be a part of that? Like, don't you view yourself as an asset? Don't you view yourself as doing good things for your employer? Like, if you're a good employee at Cracker Barrel, you make people feel welcome. You give them great service. You make them want to come back to Cracker Barrel. You make it seem like whatever price they're paying for basic breakfast foods is worth it. So you're doing a service to yourself as well as Cracker Barrel. But if Cracker Barrel hates you, then why do you want to work for them? I don't get it. Granting that Cracker Barrel once had some hiring practices where they didn't hire homosexuals or people of color, I don't get why any of those people work there. None of them should want to. This all works out in real life. Do you know how I know this? The Washington Redskins refused to integrate races until Robert Kennedy was the Attorney General. The Redskins began playing in like 1934 as the Boston Braves, and they became the Boston Redskins, and then they moved and became the Washington Redskins. But I think it was George Prescott Marshall was the owner of the Redskins, and his team was the team that represented the entire South when it came to television. There was no team in the NFL that was further south than Washington at that time, if you could believe that. There was actually a time when professional football was entirely a thing that was confined to the Ohio region, Great Lakes region, northeast. That's where professional football was played. Football was always big in Texas, but at the high school and collegiate level only. So when it came to watching NFL games throughout the entire South, every TV station, the only games they broadcast on Sunday were Washington Redskins games. And George Prescott Marshall was not only just a pragmatist, he was a complete racist. He hated black people. And he did not have black people on his team. And consequently, as you can well imagine, since many black people are phenomenal athletes, if you look at the NFL, it's like mostly black people. The Washington Redskins sucked. They were awful. They would win one game a season. They would have some seasons where the best they could do is have a tied game, which back then didn't even count. And they were garbage. So if you want to have a good team and if you want to have a good restaurant, you're going to have black people working there. If you only have to settle for having white people there, you're going to be cutting out half of the labor force, prospective labor force, good employees that you could have to make your place look good. By the way, something about Waffle House that works great. When I go in there and there's a big black lady and she calls me honey or sugar when I'm ordering, you want some more pancake sugar? Oh my God, I will always come back to that restaurant. It works. It works on middle-aged white guys. We love that. And so if Cracker Barrel wants to deny themselves that, that's fine. But anyway, back to the football team, the Washington Redskins. Robert F. Kennedy said, hey, if you guys are going to be leasing the stadium from us, which, by the way, they're going back to playing in RFK Stadium again this year, their historic home. It's ironic that their stadium was named after the man that forced them to integrate, which George Prescott Marshall did not like. Robert F. Kennedy, obviously. He forced them to integrate, and then they hired a guy who was called, they drafted him first overall. His name was, they called him the Express. His name was Ernie Davis. He was a guy that won the Heisman Trophy. And there's a movie about him called The Express, the Ernie Davis story. So when they were forced to integrate, they drafted this guy named Ernie Davis, this black player who had won the Heisman. But they did this to, I guess, meet the requirements of RFK saying, hey, look, we hired a black guy. And then before the season even started, they traded him away to the Cleveland Browns. And then before the season started, so he had won the Heisman in the spring. He gets drafted in the spring. But before he plays a game for the Cleveland Browns, the guy died of leukemia. Can you believe it? Very interesting football story, very sad story. But it also just shows you what a crock of shit the Redskins have always been. Not hiring homosexuals was the name of my falafel stand in college. You know what's funny is that somehow this entire world has to embrace the Islamic culture, but Islam does not embrace homosexuality. So right now over in England, by the way, if you're in London, you get charged like £200 if your church bells go off during the day. But you're going to hear the Muslim call to worship 3 times a day. And so throughout London, you have both the Islamic movement. There's quite a few Muslims there in London, but you also have pride flags everywhere. You're going to tell me that this culture is not ready to be boiled over? And how is it that homosexuals are just okay with this huge religious order coming in that's anti-homosexual? Like, the whole reason this is happening is because generations ago, England and other Western European countries walked away from the church. They walked away from God. Both Catholic and Protestant churches, they said, we're going to be atheistic. We're going to be secular countries. We're walking away from this because they viewed religion as the cause of wars. But then they opened up their borders to all these, people coming in, people from Turkey and people from elsewhere, people from the African continent, all these Muslim people, they're coming in, but they have a very, very strong religious beliefs. And it's erasing their secular culture, and they're fine with it. And I'm not someone who's a big gay rights person. I've never had the rainbow flag or anything like that. But how can you just be okay with this huge group of religious people coming in who would just as soon stone you for being gay if you were in their country? How can you be okay with that? It's just the paradox of it. Makes no sense to me. Never have I ever been to Cracker Barrel, but multiple family members who work at them me out. I don't know what that means. Multiple family members who work at them me out. I have laundry sitting on my couch from Friday. I actually don't like the taste of the food. Reminds me of Amish food. The pie is good, but but without the seasoning. Am I having trouble reading because I haven't eaten in a long time? My brain might be shutting down because of the fog. It's possible. The stock just lost millions when they updated their logo. Yeah, I'm sure you've seen the memes too of Spirit Halloween sitting there waiting for Cracker Barrel to close so they can move in. Well, you got to remember back then, Michael, back in the 60s, the Browns were an amazing team. This was actually a different team than the Browns that play today. The Browns that play today started in 1999. Those are not the historic Browns. The Browns that were playing in the 60s became the Baltimore Ravens. So, and the Browns were actually, they had league championships in 1964. I believe was the last year that they were the champion of their league. The AAFC, I think, is the league they came from, the All-American Football Conference. This is before they joined the NFL. I might be confused on the years here. I think I am confused on the years. I think they won the NFL championship in 1964. I think they were NFL champions in 64. So you feel sorry for him that he went to the Browns, but the Browns were an amazing team in the early 60s. So it's a good move for him. All right, Islam is largely not compatible with anything but Islam. I know they come to this country because the Islamic countries are shitholes. They absolutely are, and I'm not sorry for saying that, but any country in which Islam is the predominant religion is a shithole. But they don't have money, they don't have amenities, they don't have empathy, and they don't have clean water. So they come to our country, and then their main goal is to shit on our culture and attempt to make it like the country which they fled. So where will we be in 30 or 40 years? They're going to make the nice countries, the countries that aren't shitholes, the ones that aren't having people stoned to death for being gay, the ones with clean water, the ones where women have rights. They're going to turn those countries into shitholes. And then where will people have to flee after that? Reagan said that this is the shining city on the hill, and that if America goes dark, there's nowhere else on earth for anyone to go to be free. And he's absolutely right. He also said that every generation has to be the one to fight for freedom, or it's the last generation that will ever be free. That's what we're looking at. Nobody cares because no one wants to be seen as a racist or an Islamophobe. But where will your grandchildren be? And what kind of rights and freedoms will they have? They get to post memes? Will they get to have a YouTube show where they can post memes and rant like I'm ranting? God, I hope so. I hope that they have the freedom to even be perceived as racist, but they probably won't. John, I found out that the Canadian province are keeping an eye on their forest walkers. It's all about the wildfires being started by humans in an effort to prevent fires. Yeah, it's also an effort to curtail human rights. You can't curtail the rights of all because of the activities of a few. That's exactly what they're fucking doing. So I don't support them stopping people from walking into the woods in Canada. That's ridiculous. Freedom of movement is an essential freedom. Not across a border, but just being able to walk into the woods, yes. All right. Women thinks of women as less than? No, that's a huge understatement, Talia. They think of them as property. You belong to your father until you belong to your husband. Thinking of women as less than, you have totally undersold this. Anyway, I hate to end the show on like an angry rant like that, so I'll play the last meme. So I don't mean to get upset, but in some ways I do like it. So I was talking to ChatGPT last night as I was leaving work, and I was just curious. I said, ChatGPT, based off of every single thing that I have ever told you, everything that you know about me, everything we've ever discussed, I want you to generate what for me will be the single funniest meme that's just a single image with text. Just make up a meme, whatever you think will be funniest for me. And ironically, because I do so many self-portrait drawings, all the pictures of me smoking, of course I'm going to be in the meme. But it shows me this. When the AC dies, the trial explodes, and Drew still wants the podcast thumbnail by 8 p.m. So there's my control board for my air conditioner, literally on fire. I'm there with a multimeter trying to read it, trying to figure out why it won't turn on the blower. You can see I'm smoking. It knows to put the cigarette in there. For whatever reason, I'm wearing fatigues, and I've got a cigarette in my mouth and in my hand. I've got 2 cigarettes, right? I've got 2 cigarettes. Behind me is Donna Adelson in orange, and she's standing in front of some sort of control panel, I presume, for a starship. And then over my left shoulder is Blastoise wearing dark sunglasses, and he has full HP. This is me, though. This is my life. Pretty much just summed up. And I have to get Drew still watch the podcast thumbnail by 8 p.m. Drew doesn't usually give me deadlines, and 8 p.m. is a weird deadline to ask for it. But this pretty much sums up what my life is. And I thought it was weird how close and how far off it was. Squirtle, squirt, squirt. I don't know if you know this, Jenny, but I love Blastoise is actually my favorite. I don't know if ChatGPT, someone knows that. You do know some Baptists like that. Yes, of course, there's some Christians like that. Christians aren't generally trying to take over a country, though. You know any countries that Baptists are trying to take over? Maybe Texas. All right, guys. Well, nothing has happened on the Wendy Adelson trial. They're still on lunch. So we will be back here on Comp Center tonight. I don't know if Drew's planning on doing a live show to review Wendy Adelson testimony, or if we're doing it tomorrow. Haven't heard anything. I don't know if he's texted me at all. What I should expect. I don't know. But we'll be back here. Thanks for watching today's show. I'm going to go work out. I'm going to go break my fast. Thank you all for supporting me, even in my moments where I'm so hateful and Islamophobic. You know, what do I tell you? We'll be back here on this show. We'll at least be back here next week. So we will see you then. Thanks so much for watching. Hope you had a uplifting or sad day or something. I hope you got affected somehow. That's probably the best I can do anymore. I'm a Charmander?